Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is Toto Bravo, and this is our Mega Moto 212 from Power Sports. Just a quick wrap around before we discuss what we're going to talk about today. So we've had this Power Sports Mega Moto 212 for well over a year now. So we've had our Mega Moto for a year and a half. We're at about 24 hours of riding time on this. This came with the Tillotson 212 EE with the electric start. It was the kit. We've done a lot of modification, changed a lot of things since the initial purchase. We've had no real issues with the bike since we've had it. Nothing big. We've done several oil changes on the Tillotson 212. It's been a good engine to us. We've done speed runs, we've gone off-road, we've had it on all kinds of terrain, street, road, grass, fields, off-road, back trails, mud, a little bit of everything, and it's done very well for us. Let's talk about some of the things that we've done to the engine, and then we'll move on to some other modifications that we've done. So starting off with the Tillotson 212, one of the first things that we've done was we did the governor delete on the 212. While we had the engine apart doing the governor delete, we added a hot 265 cam, a ARC billet rod, OEM length billet rod, an ARC billet flywheel. It has 26-pound springs factory from what I understand. We've also added a nibby carb, as you can see here, and I really do like the nibby carbs. I'd like to do a separate video on the nibby carburetors, but it's been fantastic. The only real problem I've had with the nibby carb is on your throttle adjustment here, or your idle adjustment, I'm sorry, your idle adjustment right here is with the vibration from the bike while it's running and at speed and off-road. You'll find, if you look, that this little star knob here will begin to float on the spring, and you can find that the bike will suddenly start running like garbage, and that's because this will move under vibration. So what I've done is this is just threaded in here. The idle adjustment is just threaded in. I've taken and I've put a little Loctite on there, and then I've gone in and decided where it was running well, and that Loctite's done well for me, and it keeps it from floating out. Just be very careful when you do that. Make sure that you have a good idea of where it's going to be tuned, how many turns out, how many turns in for your particular engine. I think they all have their own individual personality, so you have to be careful. But that's what I do to keep this from floating. Otherwise, this nibby carburetor has been fantastic. This is the stock exhaust that comes with it in the kit. You will see that we have welded the muffler tip on here. What we had happen, and I don't know if it was just a bad part or vibration, but there used to be a collar with a bolt that went down, and it locked the muffler silencer onto the header pipe, and the tip of that just cracked. I don't think I wasn't wrenching on it. It was just one day I noticed that I had the collar itself was free floating, and the bolt was cracked. So instead of trying to replace that, I just welded this muffler in place. I mean, there was no need to not do that. This was beneficial, and I don't have to mess with it. So that's welded in place. Some of the other things that we've done is have taken an old license plate here, and I did that because when I noticed that when I was off-roading with the bike, that I would get a lot of mud and debris that would kick up and miss the fender, but go straight through the frame bars and just coat the engine. And I didn't want a bunch of stuff to go into the flywheel area there, so I just took an old license plate I had and modified that right there, and that keeps a lot of that debris out of there. I added a number plate, just some sheet metal that I cut to fit. We numbered the bike obviously 68, you can see that there, and we have these on both sides. When I rotate around, you'll see that we have that on both sides. We modified, or we upgraded, we also upgraded the tires from the V-tread tires to these Sun F tires, though a little more aggressive tires. Same size tires as factory, just a little more aggressive tread. And we did that for front and back. You could have gone 20s on these. These are 19s like factory. You could have gone up a little higher. But we were new to the mini bike game, and so we stuck to the factory size. We also put a license plate on the front instead of a number plate, an old Arizona license plate that we had. Kind of like it there. It just adds a little bit of personality to it that's individual to me. We spent some time in Arizona. We've recently removed the OEM gas tank off of the Tilly and replaced it with the Go Power Sports uni tank. Now, these uni tanks, when you get them from Go Power Sports, they are not pretty, man. They look pretty rough. So I think in order for you to run these, you pretty much have to sand them down and paint them to make them look worthwhile. They do sell a plate that you can buy from Go Power Sports to mount the uni tank, but we just took a piece of steel that we had laying around, cut it to the V shape of the frame. You can kind of see it right there. Welded it in, drilled the holes for the mounting bolts, made sure we had space cut back here for the portion of the gas line that comes out of the tank. Mounted that up, and we haven't had any problems. The only big issue was the fact that it was so rough, and if you're going to use one of these and you kind of care about what it looks like, you're going to have to sand it down and paint. Coming around the back, not a lot of modifications there, pretty factory back there. Rotate around, and you'll see where we put the other number plate on here, so we have those matching on either side. Helps keep debris out of that area of the bike right there. It really doesn't serve much of a purpose other than visually pleasant. You can see here with the rear fender, I took a piece from another mini bike that I had just laying around, a piece of fender from a previous project, and I extended that rear fender down just a little bit, and that keeps any debris from the rear wheel going up into the driver pulley system there, and messing up the back of the engine also. So we just added that right there. Nothing else really changed over here. There's another shot of that license plate that we used there as a mud guard to the front of the engine. Give you another look, side view of the uni tank. We've got that all welded up and attached. Looks good, solid, great running bike, very fast. Now we did upgrade from the original driver 30 series to a Juggernaut. Now what we found on the Juggernaut, like I said earlier in the video here, I did a top speed run and we did 50 something. I want to say 54, 55. I'd have to refer back to that video. You guys can look. But I was a little disappointed in the speed test. It is a heavier bike, and I'm a 207 pound rider, so I thought maybe that was the reasoning behind not getting a little higher speed, even though that was pretty fast. But what I found is that when we put the Juggernaut on, if you're familiar with the Juggernaut, if not, look it up on Go Power Sports website. But in the center of the Juggernaut, where the bolt goes in, if you look at it, there's an Allen bolt in there that there's the cone of the Juggernaut, the black cone that goes on top. And that Allen bolt, it's a gold Allen bolt, if I'm not mistaken, that can tighten and loosen. And what I found was I had a lot of rattle and a lot of slippage with the the Juggernaut itself, and then I eventually figured out that that gold Allen bolt in the middle of the Juggernaut was loose, so I had to tighten that up, and then you put the bolt in that secures it to the engine itself. And I have found that I get a lot more positive hookup now, not as much slippage, and I may have increased my top end speed because I'm getting more bite on the belt. So if you have a Juggernaut, that's something to keep in mind and check if you do have one. Nothing else here in the front. Factory hydraulic brakes in the front, factory hydraulic brakes in the rear. But beyond that, I think that is all the modifications that we have done on the bike. Do once over, take a look. And of course, we have lots of stickers on there, but I think as far as modifications, that pretty much wraps it up. We just did an oil change on it today, put a little oil additive in there. Runs fantastic, runs like a bat out of hell now. Love the Tilley engine. Looks really good, runs great. We'll start it up here in a minute so you guys can hear it run. And then we'll go ahead and run it for you guys so you guys can get an idea of what it sounds like here. But overall, it's been a solid mini bike. All right, let's go ahead and start her up. Kill switch, good. There you go. You can hear a little bit of a ting over here. I don't know what that is hitting over there. I don't know if that's just a little bit of the Juggernaut bell because I have this tightened down so much, or maybe I tightened it down, but you got a little ting over there, but otherwise it runs pretty solid. But overall, very happy with it. If you're in the market for a Mega Moto 212, it's definitely a solid mini bike. So this is Toe2 Bravo. I hope you enjoyed the video. And until I see you down here in the garage or out on the trails again, I appreciate you watching and thank you.